Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing EKW in the 5-minute pool on ICC. This is an international master. I think this is Elliott Winslow from California, I want to say. Let's play knight c3 and enter a Nimzo. We're going to try this queen c2 line again, as is my custom. You might notice that I vary a lot less against the Nimzo. And I mentioned this in my last standard game that I played against the Nimzo, but I just haven't really found much else that works other than queen c2 that works against this opening. So I just shoot for a playable position and try to get the bishop pair like I'm going to get here, and just play chess. Really, I think that's about the best you can do against this opening. It's such a good defense. So b4, we have a slight space advantage, but black will strike back with moves like a5 right there. Let's play bishop b2. I'm curious if he'll take on b4 and then try to swap everything down the a file. Occasionally you have to watch out for, like, say after a takes b4, a takes b4. Sometimes you have to watch out for moves like b5. Okay, so he's bringing his knight in here. Let's play queen c2. Now if f5, I wonder if I can get away with d5. This is sometimes a move you can attempt. d5, pawn takes, and then knight to d4. It's an interesting idea. I have a feeling it might be a little inappropriate in this circumstance. I could play b5 if I want. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, let's play b5. Seems weird to close down the a file, but I don't want to give him the option of playing a takes b4 at will for the duration of the game. So we're just trying to simplify the position a little bit. Okay, here I can play d5 if I want, because that would attack the rook on f6. So a line that needs to be calculated is d5, e5, let's say knight h4, attacking the knight and also hitting f5. I think that looks good for me. Yeah, that should be good. So I'm going to do it. He can play a knight to c5 then, like knight dc5, but I can take on f5. And he takes with this rook, I take e4, and I've won a pawn. So that's why I'm going for this variation. I think I win a pawn no matter what. So I'm threatening not only knight takes f5, but also bishop takes e4, f takes e4, queen takes e4. Something has to give there. I'm still predicting knight dc5, though. I think he'll give up a pawn, and we're just going to have an opposite color bishop middle game with an extra pawn for me, which I am very much okay with playing. He'll probably take on e4 and then double up the rooks on the f-file. Wow, he doesn't actually. He's playing for an attack instead. So he might be trying to go bishop c8 soon. Well, for that matter, I wonder if I should play f4. Maybe bishop back to f3 first. Bishop f3, rook h6. I really want to play f4, but currently it's a little hard to pull that off. Bishop f3, rook h6, bishop c1, g5, h4. That seems pretty strong. Let's do that. And if he brings the rook to h3, at least then I can play bishop back to g2 with tempo on his rook. Yeah, let's reroute this guy. Maybe the bishop can even come to e3 if I want to attack this knight. But I think g5 just clearly runs into h4, and I don't know how he's going to resolve that problem down the diagonal. Oh yeah, and if rook h3, I have bishop g4 trapping the rook. So that's nice. Plays e4, he's going to mix it up. So if I take h6, he takes f3. Let's say I retreat this bishop. He takes e2, I play rook fe1. Nah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for him. Moreover, I can play bishop e3 here if I want. That's the safest move of all, isn't it? Yeah, let's do that. He might be getting a little bit of play on the light squares, especially if he can like play bishop c8 and then try to get the bishop into h3 or whatnot. But I got to figure with the extra exchange plus pawn, we must be practically winning here. Okay, so do I play rook ae1 or rook fe1? Key question. I think rook fe1 is better. So now I want to take his knight and then play like my queen into e6, for instance. So assume he like vacates the e file, since I am threatening bishop takes c5 right now. Then I can do that. He attacks my rook. I think rook a d1 is fine. I don't know. Yeah, actually, let's play that way. If he goes bishop c8, I can play queen d3, I think. Attacking this knight on b3. Also threatening discoveries like bishop takes b6. Can also play queen b2 with similar ideas. Okay, just queen d3 should be fine, though. So hit that knight. I'm expecting a4. I hope bishop takes b6 is not too greedy. Don't think it is. It's a discovery on his queen. Yeah, he has to respond to it, so he does that. Now bishop back to d4 or some other move. Okay, let's go bishop back to d4. So if he takes, I take with the queen, and we're still guarding f2. That's nice. I might just play f4 and offer to give up the exchange. I think I'm going to do that, just in an effort to be practical. I'll let him take on d1. And then I'll take with the queen, more than likely. His light square bishop is the only piece that can cause me real issues. So that's why I'm playing it like this. If he plays queen h5 and declines to take the exchange, maybe rook e7 is good. Yeah, rook e7 looks strong in that case. Okay, so let's do it like this. Wow, he's actually going to continue trading with me. Well, now let's drop this bishop back. We'll see if he'll swap. Yeah, I got to figure with the 2 extra pawns, I'm just close to winning, but the time differential could be an issue. I'm going to try to bring my king a bit closer. So next I'll probably trade down the e-file and play like queen e2. All right, yeah, possibly a good move there for him. Okay.
Check.
Let's make this trade and then still play queen e2. He can check here, but I have king f3 in that case. And what's he really going to do? Because then his knight is pinned. He doesn't have time to play knight takes c3. Okay, let's go attack his knight. If I can get this knight to move queen e6 becomes
Check.
a possibility. Just hide this guy. 20 seconds. Wow, I gotta hurry. I'm trying to be too careful right now. It's kind of costing me. It must be close to winning.
Time.
Where's this knight going to go now? Because if knight c5, I can take and then play queen e6. That's winning. So knight f6 might be forced. He's got to play knight f6, actually.
Check.
Okay, let's trade queens. Let's not mess around. Just get those queens off the board. Okay, this has got to be winning now. Let's push this pawn. We can do a breakthrough now. He's unable to stop our pawns. It's like thematic breakthrough. His c pawn is too far away. And he resigned. Okay, well that was instructive at the end with the pawn ending. Let's take a quick look at it. So as I mentioned, my repertoire dictates that knight c3 on move 3 is the best move, but A lot of people play knight f3 or g3 here. It's just a matter of choice, but I've always found knight c3 to be the most consistent move, and I'm okay with allowing the Nimzo. This may change in the future. I'll put future opponents on notice. But queen c2, in my experience, is just like an easy way to play against the Nimzo. Not easy, but it's the most fluid way, I suppose. You just guard the knight, and you make sure they can't double your c-pawns. You do tend to fall behind a little bit in development, and you're not exactly like playing to mate black straight away. But you get a lot of positions like this where you have the bishop pair and ideally a space advantage, as I established here. Nevertheless, black's position remains completely solid and playable. And this type of middle game is super common. I learned to play middle games of this type in studying Kramnik's games. Like his biography is a good place to start for that. So knight e4, queen c2. He played f5. Yeah, so when f5 has been played, like you can start looking at this d5 move as a way to block the bishop and also destabilize that pawn on f5. I was thinking about playing it here, but I think it's kind of unsound. He just takes it, and knight d4, I'm not gaining enough compensation for the pawn. So therefore I played b5 first, and then rook f6, and now it seems like this is the perfect time to play d5. He responds with e5, yep, and knight h4. So the engine says the best move is g6, just giving up a pawn. But yeah, clear advantage to white in this case. Black doesn't have a whole lot to show for the pawn. Okay, and here I had f3. I didn't look at that move. Driving the knight away, the knight doesn't have a lot of squares. It only has g5 available as a safe square, and then I can take on f5. This is a superior version of the game because I get to keep my bishop pair, and I don't have to give up my light square bishop especially, which is a nice defender of my king. I want to keep my light square bishop if possible. Yeah, f3 would have been the best move. I completely agree with the engine about that. What if g5? g5 still knight takes f5. I guess here I do have double pawns, so I know it's +1, but maybe this would be an okay way to play it for black. But I just took the pawn on f5. Yeah, and I think he should have captured my bishop. Just played knight takes e4, queen takes e4, and then maybe just rook a f8, or maybe rook back to f7. He's always going to have play with the light square bishop. But I think he'd rather get my light square bishop off too, so his bishop has no counterpart. But he did this, and then I started chasing his rook. This bishop c1 move looks good. And here he might have realized that his rook is a liability. If rook h3, like I said, then bishop g4 traps it. There's no safe squares here. So he opts to pitch the exchange with e4, which seems unsound, but I can understand why he did it. Okay, so now I'm like +3, +4 almost. Computer says rook fe1 right away would be better. That's probably because now my queen is on c2. It remains guarding the b3 square. So I'm just threatening to take his knight, and he can't properly defend the e2 pawn anyways. So yeah, rook fe1 would have been an accurate in-between move, as opposed to queen takes e2, which is also still good, but it does allow this like knight coming into b3 idea. The computer claims that this move is better. I didn't play rook ae1, even though it might be nice to keep the rook on the f-file, because I was worried that this rook could become boxed in, like in the event of bishop c8 to h3. So that's why I didn't do it. So rook fe1, knight b3, rook a d1, bishop back to c8, I moved my queen. I think this was largely fine. It was just, I don't know, not scary. I just had to make sure he didn't get too much play on the light squares. And I think this is a good practical decision. f4, that was probably my best decision of the game. I could play to try to save this rook, but there's not a lot of squares for it to go to, actually. I mean, all these squares are covered. That only leaves b1, but if b1, he has bishop f5, and at the very least he can recover it next move. So yeah, that's why I played f4. And now it was mainly a question of managing the clock and making sure his knight didn't become too big of an issue.
Check.
It seems weird to allow knight e4, but I think I always have it. Oh, queen e4. Wow, queen e4. I didn't see that move. Okay, I spoke too soon. Maybe this wasn't so clear-cut. Apparently I can, wow, just give up the bishop? Really? King e2, knight takes c3, king d3. He can save his knight. Knight b1. But then I have this breakthrough again. Aha. Yeah, this is the same breakthrough that eventually sunk black's position. Yup, and if he takes d6, takes b6, and the knight is going to be unable to assist in stopping the b pawn. Wow, so maybe that breakthrough idea in itself is enough to carry the position. By the way, if he brings his king closer, I'm playing b6 anyways, and I'm going to force him to take me, and I can queen again. Not sure I would have found that after queen e4, given the amount of time I had, but that's a pretty instructive idea. So he played queen g6. I went bishop
Check.
d4. He gave a check. King g2. I didn't come to f3 because he has queen g4. So king to g2. 20 seconds to his like minute 20 roughly.
Check.
Yeah, and I knew this must be winning. This is a nice situation because his knight doesn't have a safe square to go to that I can't capture it on the next move. If knight c5, I'll take d takes followed by queen e6 check, leading to a 2-pawn up endgame. So he chose knight f6.
Check.
I give it check. I guess maybe he should come to f8. This seems like a better idea because then I can't force a queen trade, and he is threatening queen to d3. I mean, this should still be winning, but
Check.
it's gonna require some accuracy to get out of the checks. He might be able to throw in a bunch of checks and confuse the issue. Like,
Check.
let's say even in the case like this, I mean, maybe he has enough that he can hold out for the draw or even win. Probably even win based on the time. This will all be under 10 seconds at that point. But after king here, I didn't want to take on f6, even though the engine says it's better, because I didn't want to allow this cascade of checks with the queen. So that's why I was quick to play queen f5, which also seems to be winning. Yeah, and he definitely can't trade down to the pawn endgame. Like, he didn't move his knight here. So, yeah, I did this. And I could do the breakthrough right away, I suppose, c5 and then b6, but I thought there was no harm in winning his h-pawn and then doing it. Cost me a little bit of extra time, but it's nice to have that h-pawn. Yep, and super common breakthrough idea. We have one extra pawn here. Playing b6 on its own won't work. I mean, clearly that breakthrough does not bring success. So you play c5, you're trying to knock out one of their pawns so that one of the other pawns can run through. He takes it, and then, yeah, b6. I suppose this would also work too, either breakthrough. So, and note the position of his king. He's not able to help out. If his king were on g7, so say back here he had played king f7, well then after c5 and take, it is important which way I break through, right? Because if I break through with my b pawn, then he can stop the d pawn. I might still be winning because of the h pawn actually, but in this case with the king on f7, I'd much rather break with the d pawn first, so that after take and then b6, I would be winning. He's outside of the box. He's unable to stop my pawn. So just a subtlety there. Yeah, actually, if king f7, though, I wouldn't have even gone for this. I would have just played h5 and like try to drag his king back so that I could ensure that I'm promoting a pawn without him being able to stop it. All right, so interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be back tomorrow with another Blitz game. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.